Hello everybody and welcome to this webinar all about Reality Cloud Studio powered by HXDR. Today we're going to take you through the entire solution, Reality Cloud Studio, and talk about everything that you can do in terms of collaborating with internal and external stakeholders, how you can process data, how you can manage your reality capture data, all leveraging the power of the cloud. So if you've not seen Reality Cloud Studio before, then you'll know everything there is to know and make an informed decision moving forwards. If you have seen it before, you'll see how we're evolving the platform. We've changed some of the pricing structures and the packages available to you. And really that is the purpose of this session, to bring you fully up to speed with the latest release and the latest updates to Reality Cloud Studio. So what is Reality Cloud Studio? Firstly, it's a fully cloud-based solution. It's all in one. It's very simple to use, it's incredibly powerful, and it leverages a lot of automatic tools for, in this case, cleaning, registration, meshing, and we'll look at those tools as part of the presentation today. And it is absolutely the source for automated reality capture workflows in the cloud. So if you're working, you're going through traditional reality capture workflows and you're uploading a registered point cloud, that's fine. But we also have tools to allow you to go directly from the field to the cloud using our Leica Geosystems sensor products and connected ecosystem of apps, and we'll talk about that today as well during the session. So firstly, let's have a look at the agenda and understand what you're going to learn and take away today. First, we'll do a quick speaker intro to myself, and we'll do some housekeeping just so you understand how you can ask questions and get in touch with us. We'll also look at what the past, present and future look like in terms of data sharing. So, reality capture is all about capturing huge amounts of data, point clouds, photographs, geotags. How do we manage that data effectively? And also, how do we improve that leveraging the cloud? We'll also look at a very brief technology background around HXDR, which is Hexagon Digital Reality, performing the backbone or being the backbone of Reality Cloud Studio. And then we'll look into the core benefits of Reality Cloud Studio, and we'll go into those and we'll start from those and branch out into some demonstrations of those capabilities. We'll talk about getting your data into the platform, and bearing in mind, it is effectively, it's data agnostic. We can bring in data from other third-party sensors if you're not a Leica Geosystems customer, so that's something to consider. But if you are, we absolutely try to make that as simple as possible. We'll also have some demonstrations, and they'll be kind of peppered throughout the whole presentation just to kind of give you a feel for everything as we're working through the presentation. And then at the end, obviously, we'll give you some contact information and discuss special offers for existing customers as well, but talk about the new bundles that we've introduced just to kind of really streamline the pricing and the structure for people investing in Reality Cloud Studio. It's definitely worth holding on for the presentation. So very quickly, my name is Paul Burrows. I'm the Principal Software Solutions Manager for Reality Capture. I work for the division, the headquarters effectively, out of Switzerland, but working across the various product management teams. And I'm also part of the HXDR go-to-market team as well, which is why I'm involved in this session. So that's me. There's not really much more to say. In terms of housekeeping, now this is obviously it's being recorded, so if you have to nip off, if you can't watch all of it, if you're otherwise engaged while watching it, which we all tend to be sometimes with a webinar, then you will receive a copy via email. So do not worry if you miss something, want to relive a moment. You can ask any questions in the Q&A box. If you see something that you desperately need an answer for, drop that in there and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, there'll be an exit survey. Now, if you could answer that, it's fantastic. It allows us to improve our future sessions, but it also allows us to target our follow-up to you. So if you are not interested, feel free to let us know. It just helps, but I really do feel that there'll be quite a lot of engagement after this session once we talk about the pricing and everything. So let's look at the data workflows, past, present, and future. The common as-is process when you're looking at a system or a solution which is not using Reality Cloud Studio is that you have all these sensors. You are a surveying company or an engineering firm, you are an architecture firm, you have these sensors. Maybe you have third-party sensors, and you then need to process that data. Well, first you need to capture it in the field, and there's an ecosystem of apps, BLK Live, Cyclone Field 360, allowing you to work with those scanners in the field. And then you would hand that data over to another team to process that data. So you consume the data from the devices, you register it, you prepare it, you clean it, maybe do some analysis. And obviously there's a need for high-end software as part of that process in order to get the best from the data as quickly as possible. But some people like on-premise, but we have seen a big shift towards people using the cloud. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky, because the data files, as you know, are or can be huge. So what we actually still see customers doing this and shipping hard drives around, either inter-country or across borders, and or using obviously storage solutions like Google Drive or Dropbox for sharing that data. But I've dealt with some really big databases recently. And it also, you're limited by your bandwidth as well locally, but absolutely people are still shipping hard drives around, and that's just the nature of it. And then that data would go to other internal teams, and they may handle requests from external collaborators, and then that data is shared out to contractors, subcontractors, vendors. There's no kind of centralized hub of storage of data. And this works for some people, admittedly, and they have a flow, but really what we want to try and do is leverage the power of the cloud to disrupt that a little bit. So again, if we look at the process with Reality Cloud Studio, you have all your devices and sensors, but the thing that we can do here with these connected devices is actually upload directly from the field to the cloud. So with your BLK series, your RTC 360, you're able to connect with say Field 360, you can perform an element of registration or pre-registration and upload this directly to Reality Cloud Studio. Now, any devices, so the BLK, the new BLK 360, the RTC 360, they have what's called Viz technology, which allows you to perform registration pre-alignment in the field. If you have scanners with that information, you can upload that directly to Reality Cloud Studio and then basically finalize the registration. We also offer registration for B2G sensors. So you can see there you've got BLK to go, you've got BLK to fly, BLK ARC. That B2G data can be automatically registered again within Reality Cloud Studio. And of course we've got auto meshing, which we'll look at, secure collaboration amongst your different stakeholders, and you can measure, annotate, create videos, all of this within the platform. And then of course you've got browser-based viewing of that data, so you can share that with your teams or your subcontractors. You can export data from the platform, so if you've created a mesh and you want to download the OBJ, absolutely, that's fine. Also you can import IFCs into the platform as well, and you can also download anything that you've put up there, but you can upload an IFC file, and very soon we'll have a space where you can bring your IFC data and your point cloud data all together in a single viewer as well. But then from Reality Cloud Studio, not only can you download, but we also have streaming capability. Now we have streaming capability of the point cloud for Cyclone 3DR, that's already in place, so that means you can take advantage of all the analysis tools within Cyclone 3DR, or CloudWorks, and the whole CloudWorks suite will be supported with streaming from Reality Cloud Studio very soon, so pay attention for that. So that means you can just log into your CloudWorks for Revit, let's say, connect to Reality Cloud Studio and stream that data directly from your cloud solution. So there's lots of different potential workflows here, but that is what the proposed workflow with Reality Cloud Studio looks like. And of course what we want to do is build out that middle section with even more microservices and tools. Let's think about classification, for example. It's a natural extension of what we'll be able to do in Reality Cloud Studio, and leveraging the power of the cloud to do that much faster than anywhere else. So let's talk a little bit about why it's powered by HXDR. So you might have heard of this, you may have seen it in the marketing, but powered by HXDR HXDR is the underlying technology in the platform that allows us to create all these tools. So what you can see here is a selection of products which are built on that set of tools and SDKs from the HXDR group. So you've got, you may have heard of LockLab Cloud, for example. LockLab Cloud is a cloud solution for semi-automated BIM construction from videogrammetry and point cloud data. You've got Hexagon GeoCloud, which is for sharing and transporting your total station and GPS data from the field to the cloud. And a way of managing your data for those sensors. And then of course what we're going to look at is Reality Cloud Studio. So I think the key thing to bear in mind here is that HXDR is the underpinnings of the technology that allows us to create these tools. And what we'll see over time is obviously more of an amalgamation of these different tools and how they work together. So maybe adding LockLab Cloud as a microservice within Reality Cloud Studio, for example. So that's definitely something, and that's the vision of the team and where we want to go. So let's focus on the three major features of Reality Cloud Studio before we jump in. The first one is Reality Drive, then we have the Cloud Studio and the collaboration space. Reality Drive is what it says. This is about, a replacement for that kind of Google Drive, Dropbox kind of scenario at the beginning. So you've actually got a centralized location where you can store your data. Theoretically, you could just use the Reality Cloud Studio as a dump or an archive for your project data if you wanted to, and then recover that later or share it with someone. It works in that way, but it's also a great way to store, all of your projects within the cloud. The Cloud Studio aspect is about, this is meshing, registration, visualization, measurements, geotags, all the other stuff that you do within that data set once it's uploaded. And the collaboration space is obviously using those tools. You can share direct links to limit boxes, to animations. You can share a general asset link, a public link if you want to, or you can share an internal link to your teams and add them to projects that you've created. There's also a way to talk with different members in the team. There's a very, very simple kind of project management solution within the tool as well, which allows you to converse with your project members. So all in all, those are the kind of the three key features that make up Reality Cloud Studio. So now we'll look a little bit more in detail, and as we step through, we'll break out and we'll just have a little demonstration of those features and functions so we can explain them in more detail. So what we'll do is we'll look at uploading your reality capture data, registering your reality capture data, meshing it, and also showcasing it. So they're kind of the four key steps that we're going to look at, and what part Reality Cloud Studio plays in each of those steps. So the first one, as I mentioned before, is uploading. So whether you're using the BLK Live app or Cyclone Field 360, you're able to scan with the devices and actually upload that data directly to the cloud. So this example you can see playing on the screen now, we've pushed up 3 B2G files directly from the field. We've registered that within Reality Cloud Studio. We've meshed that in Reality Cloud Studio. So the data has never actually touched a desktop solution at that point. And that's completely feasible. But of course, there's other ways to do that as well. So the other way to do that is from the desktop to the cloud. Now, you may have heard of our LGSX file format. So that's our, class-leading, highly compressed, high-performance digital reality file. And that works across all of the whole ecosystem of Leica Geosystems products. And it also, now we have an SDK for this, so third-party solutions are able to read the data. But what this allows you to do is just push the LGSX file, and that will be able to be dragged and dropped directly into Reality Cloud Studio. And we can do that via the browser, or we also have a little app called the HXDR Dataflow app, which basically sits on the desktop and allows you to drag and drop, and you can manage multiple files being uploaded directly to the platform from the app. And then we have the field to cloud aspect, which I discussed before. So in this instance, let's just kind of focus on those BLK devices using the BLK Live app. And we would just then be able to upload those directly to Reality Cloud Studio. And what's great is, whether it's a BLK 360, where you have the viz data and you perform the auto registration, or the B2G, producing sensors like the To-Go, the To-Fly and Arc, they will all go into Reality Cloud Studio, and you can just click the ones you want, say auto register, and off it will go and perform the auto registration. So obviously you may want more control. You may want to apply a control file. You may want to do detailed registration reports. But absolutely, there is a space in the market where people want simplicity and automation, and this is what covers that. So just very quickly, I just want to show this in action with the BLK Live app. So on the left-hand side, you can see this is scanning with the BLK Live app. So, obviously it's sped up, and I won't show the whole video, but, we're connected to the device, and we're just putting in the details of the project. We choose our scan density, we choose our image, whether we want images, low dynamic range, high dynamic range, and then we collect the data. Now, what we're doing here is we will then move to our next position, so move to setup 2. And between those setups, we're capturing that viz information. And all of that viz information is stored in a small little file, a little JSON file. And that JSON file is used to help us then perform the automatic registration when we take that data up into Reality Cloud Studio. So I won't carry on with that video. We'll jump across to the right-hand side. So this video now, you click on a project, and you'll see that you've got this Reality Cloud Studio upload button within any project. And as long as you're connected to the internet, whether that's by 5G or by Wi-Fi, we can then go to your login. When I'm logged in into my account, I'll go to my demonstration account, Reality Cloud Studio demo account, choose the project where I want to upload this. I can even create a new folder, and then I just say upload, and it just goes off in the background and uploads this data. Now at the minute there's no trigger to auto register or auto mesh. I would do that once it's all uploaded, but that's certainly something that we are looking to add. So you can see now that's now converting the data and getting that ready to add to Reality Cloud Studio, and it really is as simple as what you can see on the screen there, and very, very similar in Cyclone Field 360 too. In terms of importing as well, those are the different methods, but it might be that you have different data sources. So we support a whole manner of 3D files. You can see here this is an IFC file that we've just taken from a project and dragged and dropped that, and it will process it. But you can see there B2G files, LGS, LGSX, standard E57s, LAS files, OBJ files, GLB is a format you may not have heard of. It's another mesh format that can all come up into the cloud. And if we can't display the data for any reason, it doesn't mean that you can't upload it. You can just upload it and it will act as this reality drive, as we mentioned earlier on. So now let's quickly jump into a demonstration of getting your data up into the platform through those various different methods.
So let's now look at the process of uploading some data. So there's various different methods that we'll review as part of this small demo. Obviously, in the platform now, just navigating through all the projects that I have stored in Reality Cloud Studio, and I'm going into our primary demo account. You can see here all the various subfolders. Now you don't have to have an upload folder. I've just created one for ease of management, really. But you can add an asset, you can select an asset, you can drag and drop one directly into the browser window if you want to, which is what I've just done there with a structured E57 file. And when it's there, you can stop it, you can pause it, you can also see this little side menu. But once it's uploading, you don't have to stay on this page, you can carry on and go and do other stuff if you want to. So it is actually a very, very simple process. And of course you can pause and resume. So yeah, it's really easy to get the data up there, and if you have started the file upload and it's incorrect, then of course you can try another method. You can also say add asset by that way and do exactly the same, and you can add the asset directly to the upload. Now the next thing that we can use is a little app called the HXDR Dataflow app. So you would just log in to the platform with your details. So of course I've got some stored usernames. I just put my password in and log straight into the Dataflow app. Now this is very, very similar to other desktop uploading solutions you may have used before. Once you're logged in, it just resides in your taskbar, and then it replicates almost fully some of the features and functions of Reality Cloud Studio, bar the visualization aspect and the ability to kick off certain functions like meshing registration. But you can see here you can directly access and see all the projects. So there's our project that we were in before, our primary demo account, and of course we can then drag and drop or add assets directly into the platform. So again, the same file, we'll just show the process of adding that. Now what's great here is not only can we pause it from this menu, but we can also go back to the Uploads Manager tab, and you can see all of the concurrent uploads which are happening at any one time, and it will tell you how long that should take to upload. So what's great, if you've got multiple files, you can drag and drop that, and you can choose to prioritize certain files. You can pause all, you can resume all, or you can pause individual ones as well, and of course you can stop the upload and cancel that directly from there too.
Okay, so now let's have a look at registering your Reality. So it's as simple, and we'll have a more detailed video, but as simple as picking your scans, click auto register, give it a name and press auto register, and the system goes off and creates that data set. So you can see it's not as quick as that. That's obviously sped up for the purposes of the demonstration, but that is the process. Okay, so your automatic registration is as simple as just picking those B2G files and pressing the auto registration function. Slightly different when you've got like the scanners with the viz information. As I said, we need this little small JSON file which effectively provides the connectivity and the transformation matrices between those scans, and then we tighten up that registration using algorithms in the background that you may be familiar with from our other software solutions. So let's jump into a very quick demonstration of those registration tools within Reality Cloud Studio.
Okay, so I've created a little registration folder. You don't have to do this at all. But we're going to look at two use cases, one with the B2G files and the other with E57. So you'd already kind of seen the B2G registration within that video. I'm just going to show that now in kind of a live capacity. So here's your 4 B2G scans collected with the BLK2Go. And all you need to do is just click the top left corner and just select those. You can see it's now all selected. And we can choose auto register from the top menu bar or the bottom menu bar, and that will allow you to perform that process. So if we click auto register, obviously if we click E57, it's not the right file type, so it's going to cause us an issue. So go to the B2G method, type in the name, you can see all the files that are included, and you can press auto register. Now you need a minimum overlap of about 30% between those B2G files for that to work, but that will now go off and process the file. I did do one earlier for that one, so I've saved that, and I'm just going to jump in so you can see there. That is the result of those 4 B2G scans stuck together. I've actually run a mesh on this one as well, and you can flip to the point cloud view if you want to. But yeah, just to give you a flavor of what we can achieve with the automatic registration. So now we'll jump back out to the project and we'll have a look at a BLK 360 use case where we have uploaded data from the field, and we've uploaded data from the BLK Live app. So if we go into this auto reg project, you can see there's all the scans. There's also this little JSON file which I mentioned before, which contains all the transformation information. And all you do now is just click on those scans, and once you've selected all of them, including the JSON file, we just press auto register again from the top or the bottom, and then we can input the name for the registration, and you can see there's all the list of files, and at the bottom we have the JSON file, which is highlighted just there. And without that, this process won't work. So you put in the file name, press auto register, and we sit back and wait. Now that will obviously depend on the number of scans, but we've got a pretty good alignment from the viz anyway, so this is just going to perform some analysis and give us a tighter registration. So if we click on this asset, there's no option to generate a mesh because I've already generated a mesh here. So if we jump in, you can see there's the mesh from that small data set. And if we just zoom down to the ground floor, you'll see that will start to load in real time.
Okay, so now let's look at meshing. You can see here there's a B2G file, a single B2G file from the Leica BLK2Go, and it's got that typical kind of SLAM point cloud that you noticed. And then what we can do is just go into the scan, choose mesh as BLK2Go, and again it won't happen that quickly. This is just for the purposes of demonstration, but it will go off and run the process, and then we've got our mesh. Now the benefit of the mesh is that it's maximum kind of 1 centimeter resolution. It's incredibly lightweight, so you go from like a multi-gigabyte file down to file that could be sub 50 megabytes, for example, but maintaining the visual fidelity and using the imagery to be texture mapped onto that mesh. So meshing is absolutely a fantastic solution. But one of the other major things about the meshing step is that we perform automatic cleaning. So what you can see here in the two images, you've got the raw data, and that's from the those scans that you saw that we use for the automatic registration demonstration, and then the one at the bottom is clean when we've got the mesh, and we haven't done anything. It's just automatically removed that noise. So if it won't clean the noise from the original point cloud, but in your mesh all of that noise will be gone. So that's something to bear in mind. That's another added bonus of using the solution. And these are just some examples of meshes which I've created in the platform, so you can see it gives a really nice look and feel. Obviously, results may vary depending on your colorization, where the data is coming from. Is it a Leica sensor, a non-Leica sensor? But you can use the platform and deliver these really, really nice results fully automatically. All we've done there is said, this is an RTC, and it's gone off and used those settings to generate the mesh, and hands off, and then we can download that, or we can just visualize it in the platform. So that's definitely something to look at. So let's now have a quick demonstration of that meshing process, how easy it is, and some of the end results within Reality Cloud Studio.
So once again, I've created my own folder, this time for meshing, and it's just a way for me to organize what I have and haven't meshed effectively. But you can see here there's two assets there. If I click on the three dots, you can see it still says generate mesh, so the mesh has not been created for those two assets. That one on the left hand side, the other one has actually been created, but here you can just jump and you can see there is a point cloud, and at the top there is no mesh, but you have the option to generate the mesh from there. Or if you go into the asset panel on the left hand side, you can also generate the mesh from there if you want to. So there's multiple ways to access that mesh generation. Now this will pop up and it will give you various options. So here's an RTC, and it will then just try to use as best information it has about the sensor to give you the final result that you desire. So once you press generate, off it goes. And I'm not going to do that because I don't want to waste the time, but you can see this one has not got that generate mesh option because it's already done. So if we click into the view, you'll see the mesh streaming in real time down in. Now if I now just give it a few seconds, you'll see that that mesh is now fully streamed in. You can see the level of detail that we're able to achieve. Now of course this can be downloaded and used in other applications, but I love this data set in particular. One, because it's very poignant, but also because obviously the level of detail is fantastic. Now we can also switch into first person mode, and we can navigate around directly within the asset as well. So you can imagine just pulling this out as an OBJ and using this in sort of gaming and visualization engines. But this was done with RTC data straight into the platform, and this is the result. There's no tinkering here. This is the automatic mesh result that we've delivered directly within Reality Cloud Studio.
Okay, so now let's look at showcasing your reality. So this is about using some of the tools. So we have a really nice virtual tour tool, and this is just one of the kind of tool sets you can see down the left hand side. We've got limit boxes, measurements, geotags, and the tours. So all you do is just create a couple of camera paths. You choose how long it's going to take, and then you can push that video out super quickly. So allowing you to showcase your reality in a really simple way. The other nice thing is you don't have to render the video out. You can just do the tour, save the tour in the platform, and then send the link either to an internal or external stakeholder to see that tour. And I really like that process of sharing with people. Actually, I think that's a really, really nice way to work. So that's showcasing your reality. So in terms of visualization, obviously you can see all the imagery as well that we've captured, and with certain file types, obviously you'll have your panoramic images as well as your standard point cloud. Some people may have a point cloud without the imagery. You just won't see the panorama produced in there, but you can still produce a mesh result. Definitely the best meshes you can produce in the platform are where you've got a data set where you have the panoramas, because we use that to texture map the point cloud, and that looks and the mesh, and that looks really, really nice. So let's now have a quick demonstration of those tools within Reality Cloud Studio to allow you to visualize your projects effectively for your customers and clients. So I'm going to go into this World War I museum. So this was collected with the RTC 360. We uploaded this in May as we were preparing for Hexagon Live, and you can see the file size. So if we just click on this asset, and that will jump us straight into the project. So now we're in the asset. I'm just going to jump through and talk about some of the menu bars around here and what everything does. The first thing I wanted to show is the assets details here on the left hand side, so you can see the project, what it was collected with, when it was uploaded, the various artifacts that have been generated, so point cloud, mesh, panoramas, and any labels that are associated with that project. You can, of course, if you want to, change this cover image. That's the thumbnail that we see throughout the project, and we can retake that if we want to. This is very important. Across the top we've got quick mode, so we can change the viewing status very, very quickly. I'm currently using this vivid mode, so we've got the nice skybox in the background. And then really, really importantly, we've got our sharing options right here. So we can click share, we can share that to within other members within the team, or we can set a general access link. So this is for anyone can view this asset. And if I click copy link, I can of course now just click across to another tab, and you will now, this is the public link, so you can see hxdr.app shared asset. So this is now a link that anyone can access. You can see we've got any limit boxes or anything that's been created are all accessible within that public link that we have shared. So that is the sharing capability, which is really, really cool. We can turn that off, so at any point in time we can kill that access, that general access link, and we can flip the switch and turn it back on again if we want to. But there you go, that's how we would share our asset. Of course you can switch to the point cloud. I've got the mesh displayed for this particular asset. We've got Doll's House mesh view if you want to, you've got a multi-level building. You can see at the minute when I'm hovering around, we've got these spheres which are representative of all the Pano image locations. We can, if we want to, just turn those off. So now when I'm moving around, you don't see them. We've also got a comparison mode that allows you to turn the point cloud and the mesh on at the same time, which is quite nice. So yeah, at any point in time, I can click into those. We'll do that in a second, and we'll show you the different viewing modes. Across here, we've got the visualization settings. So you can change everything from the color. You can change to predefined settings, so highlight, white. We can change all this in real time. In terms of the point cloud, we can change those settings. We've got this nice outline mode, which gives a little sort of shell shaded effect, and we can tweak all these settings as well to give everything a little bit more depth if we wanted to. I tend to use it in no outline. Background, of course, we've got bog standard backgrounds, plain backgrounds, unicolor. We can show the grid lines or not. We've also got what we call background blur, so you can see that in operation now. You've got everything in the background with this nice depth of field, and we can change that. We can turn it off, or we can have automatic or manual. The quality, I've got this set to ultra, so this is loading in as much data as possible. You can also change the max point count. You can also change the memory settings. So I'm currently using 3% of the GPU, and then you can change your cursor. So one that I do really like is this see-through. So if you hover on the see-through, and now I'm just moving around, you can actually see directly through the mesh. So that's really nice on a multi-level building, but we'll stick to the default settings for now. Now, of course, you've got your asset, you've got your mesh that you've created. You have got your point cloud. You can click this export button here. You can download the original file, or you can download the point cloud, the mesh that's been created, or the panoramic images, all directly from here if you want to. You can see that exporting consumes your monthly subscription download quota, so that's something useful to remember. Now, of course, we've got built-in feedback as well. So if we click the feedback button, you can see whether it was good. You can say whether it was good or bad, and that will come directly to the developers. You can feedback, if there's a feature request that you would like, you can do that directly from within the platform. That's really, really useful. Of course, you can switch between 2D and 3D modes nice and easily. You can reset the project, so if we found ourselves in a funny position under the data set, we just hit the reset button. We go back to the original location for the project. We're in currently this orbit mode, so we just left click, we're moving around. If someone is new to the platform, if they just click the help button, you can see it tells you everything you need to know. But one really nice feature is the ability to go into this fly mode. So if I right click anywhere, it'll now take me to that location. And of course I can now just use the keys. So if you're used to PC gaming, you can just move around using the directional keys and your mouse button, and you can hold down the shift key if you want to look a little bit faster. So you're in this nice first person mode. And just remember, this is all happening directly within the browser. Of course, we've then got panorama mode. So if I click panorama, that will now jump to the nearest set of photography, and that will load that in and stream that in. And you can see, as I'm moving around, the other panoramas which we can jump to. So if I just click here, that'll take us to the next nearest panorama, really nice and smooth, and we can navigate and view that data. And at any point in time, if we press escape, we go back into the mesh view, and there we are, we're back into the navigation tools. So that is the very, very simple basics of the navigation. So let's have a look at these tools down the left-hand side now. Firstly, we've got limit boxes, then measurements, geotags, tours, and we've already looked at the asset details. But if we click on limit boxes, you can see there's various limit boxes which we've already defined. So I can just click on one of these and it will take us to that area that we've created. So that's a nice little navigation feature. Now at any point in time as well, we can go and we can edit this. We can copy the link directly to this as well, so we can share that, or we can delete it from here if we wanted to. Now if I click display without limit box, we go back to the full asset again. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to create one though. So I just say add limit box. So you can see there's my limit box. I can grab the sides if I wanted to rotate these. I'm just going to grab here, so you can see I can rotate the box. I can grab the handles on the top or the bottom. Very, very easily just move this and make a smaller area if I want to. We can also tweak all these settings down here, so you can change the rotation and all of these settings by just moving the bars at the bottom here. And of course, when we're ready, we just hit save. We give it a new name, description if we want to, and that's saved within the list. But yeah, of course, there's all our other limit boxes if we want to, and as I said, we can easily share those. So let's just close that down. Now the next up is measurements. So if we go to measurements, again you can see all of the measurements that have been created. So I can just go in and click on any one of these and it will zoom to that area, so we can actually see what someone has put in place, so you can see them all there, and I can actually show these all, or I can hide these all. But if I say show all, if I move around, you can then see, and I can hover over any of these, and I can actually see the information associated with them. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how to create another measurement. I'm going to hide all these. I'm going to say add measurement. You've got distance, area, and planar area. So distance is as it says, 2 points. Area, you just click a few points to create your area. Planar actually allows you to create a plane and project onto that. So we're going to show you that method. So you just click 3 points, and there's my plane. Okay, and now when I click my points, they are going to project down onto the surface. I'm just going to double click. I can put in a name there, but you've got the surface and you've got the perimeter being created directly using that method. So that's a nice way to create measurements. But yeah, we're going to keep those hidden for the time being because we're going to show you how to create some tours in a second. So we also have geotags. So geotags in exactly the same way. Every single one you can click on and it will take you to. So there's information, who it was created by. We can even hide these, we can edit them, we can also copy the link directly to it. So again, as we did before, if we copy the link and we just ping that into here again, this will take us directly to that geotag within the asset automatically. Okay, so if you want to share a specific part and a specific location of the data to someone, you can do that there. Of course, we can show all of these, and then they become hotspots, so we can just click on these and we can get information about them by just clicking on those hotspots. So that's really nice and simple. In order to create one, we just say add geotag. You can see there we can now just put the marker anywhere we want to. So we could put it on this sign, for example, add the details, we get the nice little thumbnail and save it, and off we go. So that is the geotag. We'll of course embellish and add more information around geotags in future releases, but I think it's a really nice workflow for the time being. And this is my favorite feature really in Reality Cloud Studio so far, and that is tours. So if we go to tours, you can see various tours that have already been created. So you can see, as I'm moving across, you can see all these blue lines appearing. So I'm going to click on this long fly through here, the 60-second one, and you can see if I now just press play, you can see this is a tour that I've already created, and it is just a matter of choosing your camera head locations. You select to create a camera point, you choose your duration, you've got various smoothing tools, but we can do this directly within Reality Cloud Studio. And the other thing we can do is of course render this out as a really nice high resolution final product as well. So if we click record video, you can now choose your video quality, so I always typically use best. You then just hit the record button and it generates the MP4 file directly within the browser. There are some other ways of creating the tours though, so if I go back into the tours and say add a tour, you can see we've got these various settings. So for example, I could say, okay, well I really want this flyover option. So it automatically then creates a flyover of that asset, and you can render that out. So you haven't had to do anything, that's just done that completely automatically. If we just cancel that and we go back into my original tour, now what I can do here, if I say edit tour path, I can now go in and I can go to any individual camera location along here. So I could click on 12 for example, and I can now tweak that camera location. If I move out, I can actually click on the camera and I can rotate it. So if I click here, you can actually move it, rotate it. You can even delete that camera location within the tour if you wanted to. But I'm just going to press cancel. Of course you can change all the smoothing, you can also change the tour information, but that is tours, and you can get some really nice outputs from that directly. And I think we showed you that at the beginning, some of the outputs we showed you at the beginning of the webinar session earlier on. So that is my whistle stop tour of Reality Cloud Studio. Now remember that data hosted here can of course be streamed into Cyclone 3DR as well. So we're currently only streaming the point cloud, but that does mean that you can then carry out all the operations within 3DR that you might want to. Deviation reports, clash analysis, progress BIM reporting, all of those things that you might ordinarily carry out. You can even have your point cloud and you can stream it down into 3DR and mesh it there if you wanted to. So there's lots of capability. Okay, so now let's just dive into, as we've looked at kind of the core features, just have a look at some of the more technical aspects, I guess. which allow you to kind of manage those projects. So the first up is data and file management. So it's a really simple platform that allows you to bring your data together. You can delete, you can drag and drop, you can move, you can copy, all the kind of standard functionality that you would imagine. You can label stuff, you can use keywords, you can search by all manner of different categories and filter accordingly to get to the projects you want. Because as I found very quickly, I've got now hundreds upon hundreds of assets that built up in my account, and you need a simple tool to manage that amount of data. We've also got really nice access and user rights. So obviously you have an admin, there's a maintainer role, there's an editor role, there's also a viewer role. And you can see here with this little flyout, when you're actually creating a new user in the platform, you can choose what level they are, admin, maintainer, employee. And there's also another one which isn't listed here, which is this viewer one. So if you were to share a public link with someone, they'd be a viewer and they cannot do anything. They can maybe take some simple measurements, they can look at things that have been created like limit boxes and tours, but they can't do anything else. They can't edit anything, they can't write anything back to the platform. But you can add external parties to your account. So if you wanted to, you could add a third party as a contractor. And because of our new model, where there's unlimited streaming, it does mean that there's no issue with adding someone as an external viewer, because there's no charge to you effectively. They're just looking at the data. So definitely something to bear in mind. And then there's the collaboration aspect. So collaboration aspect for me is all the ways in which we can communicate within the platform and obviously share that information. But one thing I like is the geotags. The geotags are a great way of peppering or littering the scene with all these fantastic bits of information. And what you can do, obviously, you'll see who created all those tags and flagging issues. Now we want to expand that out over time. This is the first implementation, but absolutely geotags are a huge part of what we do in the field with our Field 360 software and how those geotags flow through into the downstream software. So bear in mind for some really cool workflows. And like I said before, there's some nice ways we can talk to other users using some of the project management tools at the front end. Now, of course, you can also export. I think I touched on this in the demonstrations, but if you've created a mesh and you want to download it, you just click the little download button and it will tell you what's available within that asset. You can download the panoramas, you can download the point cloud. So you can always get back to the raw data. You can always get back to the B2G file that you've uploaded or the E57 you've uploaded, but you can also download that if you wanted to and use it somewhere else. So that's something that is useful. But also where we have Reality Cloud Studio, we have streaming into Cyclone 3DR. Now that is really, really useful. I'm going to show now that process of connecting to Reality Cloud Studio within 3DR and how you can then perform operations on that data. And like I said, the connection to CloudWorks will come soon. So let's have a quick demonstration of connecting to Reality Cloud Studio from Cyclone 3DR. Okay, so here we are in Leica Cyclone 3DR, and we just go into the menu system, and now you can access the Reality Cloud Studio login area. So you put in your password, and then you can see all of the projects. So this is now streaming the information directly from your account, and I'm just going to go into this all new BLK 361 and look at the church. So we looked at the church earlier on, and this is the automatic registration. So we're going to open up the new registration that we created, in fact, the one that we did as part of the demo, so that's now finished. And we open up that data, and that now is the point cloud streaming directly from Reality Cloud Studio into the Leica Cyclone 3DR environment. Now the first thing I should note is that this is obviously it's intelligently streaming, so it's as you move around it's increasing the density. The other thing is, well, obviously it's only half the church. This was done on a lunchtime with the BLK 360 with a couple of setups. Yeah, you can see now I'm just using some of the tools in here. So I'm just creating a new UCS by picking a couple of points, so everything ultimately now is aligned and squared up to those pick points that I've just selected. But we can now convert this data ready for use in Cyclone 3DR. So the first thing we're going to do is create a limit box. Now if you already used Cyclone Register 360, then you'll be very, very familiar with the limit box settings. We can just pull all these different surfaces. If we hold the shift key, it effectively allows us to grab the alternative face, and we can pull that through. But we're now just creating a limit box, because what we're going to do is convert that data ready for us to use it within Cyclone 3DR. So once we're happy with that, we'll just go into the clipping group and we'll just turn it off as visible, so we're left with the point cloud. And then we can click on our point cloud that we've now cropped, and we're able to start working with that. So we can do anything. You know, this could be doing deviation reporting, floor flatness analysis. We could be doing a scan to BIM comparison in here. This is just, you know, I just wanted to show you a really simple workflow. So here I'm just going to convert the points. So that'll take a couple of seconds to convert that, and obviously you can choose, you know, however millions of points that you wish to convert, and there is your point cloud now converted. So this is effectively, if you could now you know, download that if you wanted to and use that in other applications. Okay, so what we're going to do now is effectively click on our point cloud. We'll go to our surface modeling tab, and we're going to use the scan to mesh functionality. So this is just to show you, you know, one of the things that you could potentially do if you hadn't already meshed this in Reality Cloud Studio. And of course you can choose your sensor type, and then we use what we call the evaluation mode, just to show us a quick area of what that mesh might look like. And if we say, okay, well, maybe we'll do it in high instead, because we weren't quite happy with the quality, it would run that again, and then we'd be able to see that very, very quick review data. And bearing in mind, this is taking, you know, a multi-million, if not billion point data set and turning this into you know, a really nice simple mesh that we can share. So once we're happy, we've chosen those settings. I've just gone with the medium setting and the pre-chosen, pre-selected BLK 360 option, and there's our mesh. And that's it. You're done, you're dusted, and you're ready to share that with everyone and anyone. Okay, I hope you found that useful. As I said before, you know, we have the point cloud streaming within 3DR, but we're also looking to stream the meshes. So if you've created a mesh in Reality Cloud Studio, then theoretically stream that down. You know, maybe you want to perform some hole filling, maybe you want to perform some bridges or fixing of the mesh, or smoothing or decimation. Being able to stream that data into your local computer and perform that operation if you wanted to. And then of course the big one is all those users who've got CloudWorks, and you may have multiple distributed people using CloudWorks in your organization, both internally and externally, can access that data at the same time and start working on that data and streaming it. So that is coming soon. It's being tested, and all I can say is, you know, that's absolutely what's expected from the platform, and how we anticipate people will use Reality Cloud Studio. So as we start to wrap up, let's have a little bit of a conversation around the product offering. So we've made a really big push now towards simplifying this for you as a customer, and I think we've done a really, really good job with this now. So effectively, the system is now it's priced on usage, and your usage is defined in gigabytes or terabytes effectively, and we sell it in terabytes per year. And initially we have two bundles. There's a 1 terabyte option and a 3 terabyte option. And I won't discuss prices because this is obviously an international webinar, so I'll ask that you contact us and we'll discuss, but you know, they're priced really nicely. The other thing is, all sensor sales at the minute will be sold with one of these options. So if you buy a device, you'll get this bundled in, and if you're an existing user, then you'll have access to a special offer of up to 50% discount for your first year. So what is the simplicity of a usage pricing model? So you can see here, upload, processing and download, effectively when it says price per gigabyte, but let's say you buy the 1 terabyte option. What that means is, if you upload 100 gigabytes of data, then that consumes that 100 gigabytes of your 1 terabyte. And if you then process that 100 gigabytes of data into, you know, whether it's meshing or registration or format conversion, it will then also use that against the quota. And if you want to download the processed data, let's say you've created a mesh and the mesh is, I don't know, 500 megabytes, that will count towards your quota as well. But what we have done is we've made lots of things as part of the solution unlimited. So it's unlimited streaming. So once the data is up there, it doesn't matter how many people across your organization or external are accessing the data, that's included. It's unlimited users. So you don't have to worry about how many people across your org or out internal or external are set up as users on the platform. And also unlimited projects. That doesn't mean unlimited storage. It means you know, maybe you've got 100 projects or 200 projects or 500 projects. It doesn't matter. That's unlimited as part of this new pricing model. And of course, you know, you've got free ongoing storage. So, you know, if you do happen to go over these allowances, then there is an overage charge, which is based on 500 gigabyte increments, and we just would invoice that accordingly. But yeah, what we found with the discussions with partners, you know, whether that's existing customers or new customers, is they're very, very happy with this pricing structure because they know exactly where they are, and they're also not limited. They're not limited by worrying about sharing this in the organization, and they want as many people to adopt reality capture data as possible. So this really removes the barriers. So yeah, absolutely. If that for any reason doesn't make any sense to you, come and talk to us. We'll explain it. But at the end of the day, all you need to know is there's some fantastic deals for both existing and new users for Reality Cloud Studio. And yeah, we'll obviously talk to you about your needs. But you know, we can absolutely see. You know, there'll be different types of clients who want the 1 terabyte, the 3 terabyte, and maybe even custom. You know, we will have discussions, and we're willing to have discussions about people who fall outside of those two options. So do talk to us, absolutely. So as we move towards a summary, this is a great slide. It looks complex, but I just want to finish with it because what it really shows is that we have all these sensors. We have our field apps. And then we have both our desktop ecosystem and our cloud-based ecosystem, and all of it is connected. So, you know, if we were just to take one path where we just said, okay, BLK2Go with the BLK Live app, upload to Reality Cloud Studio, register in Reality Cloud Studio, stream out to Cyclone 3DR for something, some kind of an analytical operation, that works. Let's say we go with an RTC 360 through Field 360. We go into Register 360 to process the data on the desktop and produce an LGS file. The LGS file can be uploaded to Reality Cloud Studio and then shared downstream. So we've just tried to make this as seamless as we can. If you identify a workflow that you want us to support, then come and talk to us. You know, absolutely, this is all about just file types and conversions. But we do think we've got a lot covered. And when we've got generic file types like E57 and LAS, then we do cover a lot of third-party users as well. And if for any reason your E57 is not formatted correctly, have the conversation with us. We've managed to get a couple of other vendors to get their E57 export in line, so they're able to now go seamlessly from their solution to Reality Cloud Studio. Images are orientated correctly, for example. So come and talk to us. But this really lays out the foundation for what we're trying to do here with Reality Cloud Studio as a central hub. You know, completely optional, of course, but you're on this session to learn about how it can play a powerful part in your reality capture journey. So let's summarize what we've looked at today. Done the speaker intro, housekeeping. Remember, if you've got any questions, and please, if you've managed to last this long, when you exit the webinar, please answer those questions for us. We looked at that data sharing of what we've looked like in the past with hard disks and sharing solutions, or without the visualization aspect like Google Drive and Dropbox, and what it looks like with Reality Cloud Studio. A little bit on the technology background with HXDR, so hopefully you now understand how HXDR plays a part. It's kind of the technological underpinnings of the solution, and then obviously the core benefits of Reality Cloud Studio. So uploading, registration, meshing, showcasing, those kind of key facets, but also the Reality Drive and the Cloud Studio and the collaboration space too. We talked about and showed getting your data into the platform, creating your first projects, all those little demonstrations just to give you an idea of where we're heading with the solution, and of course contact details, which will come now, and I've discussed those kind of the special offers. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. My name is Paul Burrows. Feel free to contact me at paul.burrows@hexagon.com. That's paul.burrows@hexagon.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm more than willing to have people contact me on LinkedIn. But feel free to reach out to us. And also on the exit survey, make sure you let us know if you want to learn more. But yeah, as I said before, you've got these 1 and 3 terabyte options. People with new sensors will be getting access to Reality Cloud Studio anyway. And people who are existing like a Geosystems customers can access 50% discount on those 2 bundles for year 1. And that is it represents a huge saving, and it gets you into the platform, and it gets you using it, and it gets you taking advantage of all those tools within the platform. So at this point, I just want to say thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the session and taken some value from it, and I look forward to speaking with you very, very soon. And obviously look out for further webinar sessions. Now you're on the mailing list, unless you want to be taken off, you'll get access to other sessions. Well, we'll obviously be updating as the platform grows and evolves and we add more features and functions, then you will get updated there as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.